The next section on our page, which comes after the hero section, is this features section. As you can see, all the elements in this section is aligned vertically. So let's switch over to the editor and uncomment this section. There it is. Let's go back to the browser and take a look how this section looks like on mobile devices initially. As you can see, it is completely broken. So let's start applying classes to the elements of this section one by one. First of all, I'm going to focus on these two headings. I'm going to set vertical paddings to 8 units on mobile devices for this section, and for all other devices, this padding will be 16 units. And as for this gap between child elements of this section, we'll set it to 12 on bigger screens. But on mobile devices, I'm going to set the distance between child elements to 8 units. Like so. And those child elements are the block with a heading and a subheading, and block with list of features. Let's also decrease the font size of the section heading, set it to 2XL on mobile devices, but on all other screens, we're going to increase the font size to 4XL. Let's also decrease the spacing between heading as well as subheading on mobile devices. I will use margin top 1, and for all other screens, this top margin will be 2 units. As for this text LG class, which increases font size, I will use it only on bigger screens. Next one, probably the most important change that we'll have to make regarding responsiveness when it comes to this section, is that we need to align all those feature items vertically. So let's switch back to the editor, and right here where we are applying grid class, we need to make this grid to have 3 columns only on bigger screens. But on mobile devices, this grid by default will have only 1 column. And the gap on mobile devices between those feature items will be 4 units, but on bigger screens, this gap will be bigger. We'll set it to 8 units. And that is looking good. All these features are now aligned vertically. Let's go back to the editor and decrease the roundness of these feature blocks on mobile devices. We will use rounded MD class for that, but on all other screen sizes, the roundness level will be XL, a little bit bigger. Also, I'm going to make paddings 4 units on mobile devices, but on bigger screens, we'll increase paddings to 6 units. And so, just because we have 3 identical feature cards inside this section, I'm going to copy over all those classes that we have just modified or added on the first feature block and apply them to all other cards in this section. And I will be also doing the same modifications that we have just done to the list of classes on the first card. And so far, here's how this section looks like. Next, I'll be applying classes to individual elements in these cards. For example, let's decrease the size of icons on mobile devices. In here, I'm going to apply size 10 class to set the width as well as height for an icon, and on bigger screens we're going to use size 12. And exact same classes I will be applying to other SVG icons inside this section. So I'm basically replacing all existing classes with new ones for all these icons. As for the headings inside these cards, let's decrease font size on mobile devices and make it bigger on all other screens. Then I will take these 2 classes and replace existing classes on these headings inside the other cards. Obviously, we want all those elements in each card look the same. There is one more element left inside these cards, and that is this description. For this description, I will decrease font size on mobile devices, but on bigger screens, I will be using the default size, which we can set by using class textBase to discard text SM class used for mobile devices. Alright, one more time I'm going to take this list of classes and go over every feature block inside this section and apply these classes on other description blocks. Here is the result that we got. Let's continue working on the responsiveness of this page in the next lesson.